My Godfather, the ear, never die. My Godfather, the ear, never die. My Godfather, the ear, never die.
My grandmother remarried after her first husband died of a well-deserved heart attack. Doris's first 30 years were spent as a wife of a high school basketball coach, and the remaining 40 years she spent as a preacher's wife. After Preacher passed, decisions had to be made, and the family was going to have to make them for her. I'd never been to visit the Norfolk home until it was apparent she was going to be moved to assisted living. Being that she was in her 90s, it seemed the only solution, since all of her children and grandchildren lived over 200 miles away from Norfolk. I made the trip down to the port city, saw the house for the first time, and was ready to roll up my sleeves and begin placing pieces of her life into boxes or garbage bins while the rest of the family packed up her things. I headed to the attic. My grandmother's second husband, Preacher, had fallen in love and married my grandmother without ever knowing she was a closeted witch, posing as a stout Christian. She had one foot in the church and the other firmly planted in the circles of salt and ash. I found the attic to be a treasure trove. Almost every box or container was marked Maurice, the name of her first husband, and pushed to the four corners of the room. The boxes, trunks, envelopes, all had no pictures of him, no love letters, no marriage license, nothing at all that marked his presence in this world. Instead, I found tarot cards, the cowrie shells, the candles, and other tools she inherited from her great-grandmother. Small, red-topped push pins, a piece of red brick big enough for a woman's hand, and scores of mason jars filled with plants, roots, water. I would later learn these things were originally part of a larger collection from the Great Dismal Swamp. They had been lost when Doris, my grandmother, was adopted by relatives at the age of 8. She could only pack so much then. Amongst the clutter in the attic, there was a table turned upside down with the name Maurice etched in the wood, perhaps by an old key or file. The legs of the table were long gone, leaving ghost spots in their places. By now, those table legs had been eaten away or rotted through by the heat of the summers and wet winters. The bottom of the table plainly said Maurice, perhaps so Preacher would respect the dead and allowed keepsakes to keep. I turned the tabletop upward, took off my shirt to wipe layers of attic dust away. Under the dust were hints of bright blue and a sort of crest carved into the center. With little convincing, my family members allowed me to leave in my minivan with the cards, the candles, and most importantly, the tabletop. This would be the beginning of a family journey that would draw me in, hunting down the aged members of my family, any census records dating before the early 1900s, and it would help me begin to unravel the small truths about my so-called gifts.
Incoherence, will go on for a very long time, But that was inevitable. That moment had to come too,